Yes, thank you so much for coming to speak to us today.
Thank you for
We've
having
read
us.
a lot of different views in our class about the role and the ability of the free market to address problems of social inequality and help these marginalized populations that you've been speaking about. We've read views about this idea of philanthrocapitalism, where there's this idea that people who have made it in business have hyper agency and they're able to give in a way and invest with a lot of impact. And then on the left side, we have read criticisms of corporate social responsibility, saying that companies that are for profit inherently cannot address these issues of social inequality because they're responsible to their board of governors, to their shareholders, to their investors. So how would you address that critique, and where do you think your idea of impact investing falls in this spectrum?
I think the reality is, I think the key word that you just used is spectrum, right?
Right.
I think the reality is it is a very broad spectrum, and there will be some businesses where a more distinct and perhaps difficult choice has to be made between the impact and the profit motives, and some not. And let me give you an example to the second half of your question. I'm on the board of a company called Clean Engines Incorporated. That company is looking to retrofit tuk-tuks. I don't know if you all know what tuk-tuks are, but they're the three-wheelers that you find in many Asian cities. There are an estimated 100 or 200 million around Asia. One tuk-tuk is responsible for the equivalent of 50 cars worth of emissions. Toxicity in Asian cities like Manila and Bangkok is actually starting to kill. What this company is doing is retrofitting tuk-tuks with clean engines using LPG or compressed natural gas. The moment that vehicle has been retrofitted, not only does the driver's income double, but the efficiency goes through the roof. The toxicity over time obviously falls in the city because these tuk-tuks are no longer pumping out the emissions, right? There is absolutely no reason, and I don't think, from my perspective, any of us should have a problem with the fact that this hopefully one day will be a multi-billion-dollar company. We could also significantly impact pollution rates and health amongst the poorest of the poor urban dwellers, tuk-tuk drivers, in a range of countries. That to me is a pure impact investment win-win, where you've got a sort of uber profit motive, if you will, and a lot of money eventually being made with an extraordinary private sector resolution to a problem which certainly the public sector and the government hasn't touched or been able to do anything about. But having said that, not every business has such a perfect symbiosis, if you will, between the social and the profit side or the financial side. So your point is also well taken. That's what makes it so complicated.